Music is a pretty big part of Good Omens. The big clue in Season 2 revolves around a record, Every Day by Buddy Holly. But there might be a lot more hiding in other records we see than we first realized.
I like it. Contains information in a tuneful way.
There are two parts to this particular puzzle, a more overt and obvious one that I think some other people have already noticed, and one that is very hidden, yet clear as day once you see it. And the second one is new and a complete
Oh my God.
to me. First, let's set the scene. In the opening of episode 1, present day, Aziraphale goes to visit his tenant Maggie, who runs the record store. He collects from her some Shostakovich records that he had ordered. There's a really good close-up of the record at the top of the stack he's holding, close enough to easily see what it says. This has to be on purpose. They wanted the audience to see this record label. It says Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5 in D minor, Leonard Bernstein at the piano, conducting the New York Symphony Orchestra. As Aziraphale leaves, thrilled with his new records, he tells Maggie,
And I know exactly what I'll be doing for the next 21 minutes.
"We are going to come back to this." The record we are shown is the same piece of music that Aziraphale is listening to a little later when Gabriel arrives, Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5 in D minor. Now a tiny but extremely relevant history detour. Dmitri Shostakovich was a Russian composer in the early and mid-20th century. During the 1920s and 1930s, his work, specifically 3 operas, came under scrutiny by the Soviet regime as being too critical of the government. It was not a good time to be a dissident in Soviet Russia. There were purges under Stalin. Several of his friends and family were arrested or just vanished. His life was in real danger if he continued composing work that was openly critical of the Soviet regime under Stalin. In 1937, a time of great hardship for the Russian people, he composed Symphony No. 5 in D minor. It was his first work that appeared to change tone and comply with the ideals of the regime, but it was only a veneer of compliance. Critics at the time hailed it as energetic, bright, and life-affirming. Although works composed in minor keys can be those things, they tend to be more negatively emotionally charged, and this one is really something. At this point, I'd like to recommend you listen to the piece in question to form your own opinion. There's a link in the description. The part Aziraphale is listening to when Gabriel arrives is near the beginning of the 4th movement. You can listen to it beginning at 36:52. But the entire symphony is very interesting. I can only describe it as tense, dark, sometimes frantic. Many musical historians believe it is a deeply subversive piece of music. Positive on the outside, but containing a detailed, harsh, rebellious message. I would like to draw the parallels between this composer's experience and this specific piece of music to what Aziraphale is now facing in heaven. Will he put on a show of compliance, all the while undermining the will of heaven and continuing to do what he thinks is moral, what he knows is right? I think this may actually be the true meaning of the smile and why it looks so creepy. Like the symphony, it's bright on the outside, but tortured and subversive underneath. While listening to this symphony in all of its grand symbolism and foreshadowing, you may notice something. It is not 21 minutes long. There are 4 movements in the symphony, and none of them, nor any combination of them, are anything close to 21 minutes. So, why did Aziraphale say that? A lot of fans have been puzzled over this very specific comment that Aziraphale makes in the record shop. It seems a little odd, and that's because it is. So let's rewind, back to the first scene, back to the image of the record. Let's reveal the second part of this puzzle. On a record label, you'll find quite a bit of information. There's the obvious stuff, the producer, the artist, the name of the work, when and where it was performed. But there's also information most of us wouldn't look at twice. Super Sleuth, Joe Madge, found this other clue. I don't know how she even thought to look at it, but we spent hours together down this rabbit hole. When you look at the close-up of the record, you will see a serial number, SBRG 72170, and another identifier, MS 6043. This serial number belongs to an entirely different record, not Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5, but one that contains work by Shostakovich and is also conducted and performed by Leonard Bernstein. This record has 2 sides, both of which are roughly 21 minutes long. The first side, by Shostakovich, is his Piano Concerto No. 2 in F major, written in a happier time, post-Stalin in 1957. This piece of music is bright, cheerful, and uplifting. On the opposite side, also conducted and performed by Leonard Bernstein, is Ravel's Piano Concerto in G major. This piece of work is often described as fiery and passionate. They were chosen to be on opposite sides of this record because they complement each other. They are described as perfect playmates. I want to remind everyone that the big clue to the mystery of Season 2 was a record, and that record had two meanings. Both the more obvious one, that Gabriel and Beelzebub are in love, and the hidden one, that the apocalypse is also getting closer. And so we have these two riddles attached to another record. In the first, we find the story of a man struggling to maintain his own moral compass in the face of an oppressive regime, a man who continues to battle, in his own way, the powers that be. Could this foreshadow Aziraphale's coming challenges in heaven as the new supreme archangel? How he will need to fight to remain true to himself and do everything in his power to prevent the coming destruction while also maintaining that facade? In the second, we find an uplifting, cheerful, classical piano concerto paired with a fiery, jazzy piano concerto. Two 21-minute pieces, perfectly matched, two sides of the same record. So what does this second record mean? Why is it so cleverly hidden and yet so clearly attached by composer and conductor to the first? Neil has hinted that Crowley and Aziraphale will have a happy ending, but that exists entirely outside of the story itself. This clue exists inside the universe. Perhaps this 21 minutes that Aziraphale refers to, this inconsistency, this hidden record, is a hint at the happy ending, their finale together in a bright major key, their cottage in the South Downs.
I may be right, I may be wrong.
Shostakovich's Piano Concerto No. 2 was the first piece of music played at Carnegie Hall after it reopened in October of 2021, after the pandemic lockdowns ended. It's a hopeful message of joy after a period of difficulty. It might be a coincidence, but I thought it was a nice tie-in as well. All of the musical pieces mentioned in this video are linked in the description. I encourage everyone to listen for themselves. Don't take my word for it. One thing we couldn't entirely resolve is that Aziraphale has this music on 78s. As far as we can find, the 5th Symphony recording of this particular performance only exists on LPs. This might just be a character beat. How everything Aziraphale has is the rare, old-fashioned version. Does anyone have any other thoughts on this? One final note. In my last video, I pointed out that there's a sword placed between Aziraphale and Crowley's hands in the magic shop in 1941. A number of commenters proceeded to point out that there are additionally 3 more swords driven right into Aziraphale's back. This seems ominous, even considering this video and its upbeat message of the secret happy ending. Will the other archangels betray him? Do they represent something else like heaven, hell, and humanity? What do you think? I'd like to give my sincerest thanks to Ines, a talented concert violinist who contacted me and shared the most insightful and detailed analysis of Shostakovich's 5th Symphony. I couldn't possibly do it justice in this video, but it was their insights that got Joe Madge and me looking closer at the records. I've included a link to their Instagram down below. Secondly, I'd like to give Joe Madge a round of applause for finding this hidden record. I would never have seen this on my own. These two wonderful people, fans who spent their time doing this research, are responsible for almost all of the information in this video. So again, thank you both. The Discord server opens to the public in just 2 days. We have so many fun things planned. An Eccles cake baking day, emoji contests, weekly Good Omens trivia nights, and much more. I really want to make this a place for every member of the community to continue to share their love of Good Omens and just have fun hanging out together. I'll post an announcement on Wednesday with the Discord link, and I sincerely hope to see you all there. And as always, thanks for watching.